So Lost. First thing I thought of was Outkast, Hey Ya.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I loved that song so much. And that
Andre
song
3000 Up in the World?
That song had a lot of layers to it. It had a lot of meaning to it. You could take stuff at the surface. You can take stuff a little deeper. It was very different. It was something not expected.
And it did so well on the charts.
It did so well. And I have this memory actually of when I was working at the hotel I was working at, to our district manager, I would sing, shake it, shake it, shake it like a Polaroid picture to my manager. But yeah, that first thought, I was like, wow. Now, I don't know if you remember, but I had talked about volume levels and clarity and understanding, especially with the first song. And for me, when I listened to this, it was very difficult for me to understand what those first few words were. It was like, la, I get la, 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 la. And I couldn't really understand it until the very last line, and then it was clear.
Really?
Yeah, for me, my experience with it. So that intro is kind of dizzy and light, like I'm lost. I'm not really understanding what the words are saying, because maybe it's the accent of the singers, maybe it's the way that it's, recorded, but it wasn't till that last line where I was like, oh, that's what they're saying. I just thought that was a great experience for this song, is to come into that, because that's kind of how I felt with the intro, is that physical feeling, that physical reaction to the music. And for me, that was kind of a physical reaction, because I was listening and trying to be, oh, okay. And then just saying, I'm goddamn lost. I'm just lost. But the thing is it's wonderful and it's perfect and I am happy. I've never been to club before. I hit the club. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it. Like me and my podcast. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just going to do it because it makes me happy. It's what I want to do. I get a lot of strength from that. Or what does he say? Thank you, don't worry. Hold up now. Thank you, don't worry. And if I think about the content again of what he was talking about, especially with Mini Moni, about how people were worried about him. And he's like saying, like, no, it's okay. I want to be lost right now. I want to go through these things. Let me go through these things. Empowers me a lot to have that not directionless space for it to be okay, that you don't have to be on a grind right now. You don't have to be focused. Like, it's okay. I can be here. Let me just exist in this space, in this artist space. When it comes to the dump it on the ground, pick it up, put it in the trunk. We talked about trunk with groin, and almost like
somewhere.
There is a dance. I do a dance.
I do too. We all do. We all
pick it up, put it in the trunk.
We all do it.
And it says trunk again and groin. And so I started to think, in this instance, the trunk is something inside of him. This is where things are stored. And saying it over and over again, dump it up the ground, put it up. I mumbled that. It's over and over and over, this cycle. And even in the music video, going over and over and over in this cycle, that he's just putting these things back in him, putting it back in him. No, stop. We need to stop that. Let's go down. That will make you stupid. Like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. That was a vicious cycle of insanity. There are things that he wants now that he can see clearly, and he had to get lost to do that. And I feel that, because as an adult of where I am in my life, it has been when I have no idea what's going to happen, that's when the best things happen. When you allow that space for things to not be so restricted, that you actually find exactly what you're looking for. And I've never felt so free before. Like, yes, because you're just out there. I'm just going to be out there doing my thing. And while having direction is great, and we do need to have our goals and work for the things that we want to have, the journey, I always talk about how the journey is the important part of the thing. I think that's what this is saying.
The goal is the journey, not the end result.
Right. That I needed to get lost and have this journey in order to, like I said, really find myself. And then finally, during that, I got temptation. I always start to clap. Like every time I get to that part, I start to clap because there is a joy of it, that euphoric feeling of this is amazing. And whatever happens, whatever temptation, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to pick that up and keep moving. And those are the things that I'm going to put into my trunk now, that I'm going to put within me, that are going to be special to me.
Cool.
I love it. I love this song. I love this song. And the video was striking. It was very amazing. But at the same time, y'all missed a merch opportunity with those little mini Namjoons.
My first note, you went Andre 3000. My first note was, this is the auditory version of the Carlton dance. So much. Every time I hear this song, I have a little vision of Carlton. That is the point, right? It's a freedom. There's a freedom in, if you will, of all the things, being an idol at such a young age. When did he first actually go to a club? It's mentioned for a reason. I've never been to a club, I finally went. So at what age did he finally get to do that? I know they're not sheltered, but I suspect that it was later than his peers, than his non-idol peers. And he felt so free in that moment, just being a normal person.
Which is a theme through here, trying to be a normal person.
Be a person. Like, not just this idol, but a person. And then, much like you, dump it on the ground, pick it up, throw it in the trunk. That is the busiest trunk in creation. First, we got stuff getting out of the trunk. Now we're putting stuff in the trunk. Like, which one is it? In or out, in or out? And it's so repetitive in both places that it's the futility of this endless cycle. And I was wondering if this, to get out and throw it back in, if this is looking at your persona, looking at who you are. You pick it up and then you throw it on the ground because you don't like it, and you throw it in the trunk again. You don't actually throw it away. You throw it back in the trunk.
Yeah, you keep a part of it.
You're keeping it. And it happens over and over in that endless cycle. But it's a growth aspect, right? We all go through this, where we pick something up, we try it on, we don't like it, we throw it away. We pick it up again, we throw it. I mean, it's constant. So it's really clear way to describe the growth aspect of self-actualization. It's all about this finding yourself as an adult. I also want to look at that, like, every morning and every night, I'm always feeling lifeless. And in the morning, I feel love and I hug it in excitement. I start the day really great. I'm ending it beaten. I start the day really great. I end it beaten. So dump it on the ground, pick it up. It's all just that futility. I'm waking up, I'm happy. I'm going to bed, I'm exhausted. I'm waking up happy, I'm going to bed, I'm exhausted. Every morning, every night, I'm always feeling psyched. And then I get home, I'm lonely as fuck. I'm feeling lifeless. It's really interesting when you start to read those lyrics, how the repetitiveness of trying to find self. And I've got temptation. Bro, what are you planning to do? I too have temptations. I too have things I'm interested in doing, but haven't done yet. Everyone has temptations. Everyone has things they want to do, but aren't brave enough to do, or know they shouldn't do. I've got them. I've got them. It's a clear statement, again, reminds us that he, just like everyone else, has temptations.
Well, and you said finding yourself. And it sparked both for my observation and for internally, is that when you're when you're living your life, you have to find yourself at each moment. You think that this is your life, and then you go through changes and decades, and we have to do that already.
Yeah.
Then you add the layer of being an idol on top of that.
I mean, real talk, now, I'm literally going through that right now.
You're already behind the line, you're already, because you have that, so you can't just have that normal exploration of life and who you are. You have to do it under umbrella. I'm not going to say I'm not going to call it anything bad, because
but you kind of have to do it under the radar so that you can have some peace to explore yourself.
Yes, but if we talk about what we've been hearing from him out of this album is breaking free. There's that liberation. That's that.
Yeah.
And kind of what I had talked about before, where a conversation we had before, actually, about how you don't always have to live in pain. Like, yes, there's an umbrella of K-pop, but that doesn't have to be horrible.
No, not at all.
It did cause certain things to happen, but we're going to take what's right and what I grew out of, and we're going to go forward with that. I'm going to respect it because it is a thing that happened.
Yeah. And it was, and we liked it. It was still educational.
It was still there. And I'm not going to let that, and this theme that I've been getting is not going to let that be that barrier for me to not now explore myself. and be who I am, you
Yeah.
know. And I connect with that because of what's currently happening in my life with my dad,
Mhm.
and how when I was younger, my parents had told me, you're going to have to take care of your damn self. So get a job at 14 and get out of the house at 18 and live your life. This is what you're supposed to do. And as that happened, I didn't have necessarily the greatest start to when I turned 18 and they kicked me out of the house before I had graduated high school, but I was 18, so get out. And I
Yay.
never really understood that. I was very pissed. I was very upset about that. But going through some of those hardships made me the person I am today, with the empathy and the understanding and the
Mhm.
love. I love that. I love that memory of my life, even though it was absolutely horrible.
Yep.
But something good came out of it. And I was able to find myself. I am in this transition where I have lived for self-preservation when I was younger because I
Mhm.
just needed to get to the next paycheck and eat, and I couldn't explore who I was. I couldn't
Yep.
necessarily go
You were
to
too
my
busy.
dreams
You
again.
were too busy surviving to explore.
Exactly. And then my mom died. I'm too busy dealing with
Grieving.
depression,
Yep.
grieving, you know. And then my dad, I'm too
Mhm.
busy hanging out with him, and not too busy as in it's a burden, but my life has been focused in those ways that
Mhm.
when do I get to focus on myself? And now that my dad is in the adult home, it has been very bewildering. And someone had asked me, what are the things you like to do? And it shook me.
'Cause you did.
I didn't know. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm now thinking in the thought of myself, not
Yep.
thinking through whatever was happening or the other person I was taking
Yep.
care of. And I ended up actually really sitting down and
Mhm.
writing out things that I remembered that I actually liked.
Yeah.
And it was very, it's very
And you know,
powerful.
and we've had many Moni where RM talks very much about distancing himself from everything and everyone related to BTS just so he could find himself again,
Yep.
because he was lost. Literally,
Yep.
he was lost in, you know, the day to day of being the leader of BTS
Yep.
and all that that entails. And I'm not saying it's bad, and neither is he. He's just like, at that point in his life, he couldn't do both.
Yep.
He needed to be He needed to be Kim Namjoon for a while.
This song, it's kind of like Heaven, which was kind of like Groin, which is another,
Mm-hmm.
this is the right place and
Mm-hmm.
I'm the right person. That boundary again. I'm not going to let you in here, nor am I going to question where I am. I'm in the right place. I am the right person. And we're getting more closer to that end resolve, that, because remember when I said at the beginning, we kind of spiraled down a basement level. Now we're in interlude and we're kind of, okay, where do we go from here? And now we're on our trajectory back up. And we're really starting to strengthen who we are, and that it is okay that I am on this journey. I do not know what I'm doing. You're not going to be taking anything more away from me. And so it's great. I think it leads into the next, that concept leads well into the next song. What was your final thought about?
Just the notion that being lost is the correct decision, right?
Mm.
That, you know, right place, wrong person is basically what you were saying just now. You know, my lack of following the path that everyone else followed doesn't make me wrong. My
Mm.
being lost is the right decision for me. And again, it's that self actualization. And
I enjoy that this was the lead single. I think with some music, you can take it at that surface level of entertainment. You can go a little bit deeper and you can go super deep. And that's why I keep coming back to the song over and over again. And you'll hear different things
Mhm.
and you'll have different distinctions. It's just, I like art. Like, isn't
Art is subjective, but if you get to see great art or hear great art, then it should touch you. What you get from it is what you put into it.
Yep, I agree.